is good, YouTube? Quinn Wade Basketball Analysis coming to you with a quick video. I wanted to let you guys know I got some new merchandise available, not just t-shirt anymore. I got different type of t-shirt, different type of shirts and logos that you can purchase on my spread shirt, and also hoodies now. We have expanded and added more to the channel and more merchandise for the brand. Thanks for supporting. It will be in the description and the links will be in the comment section below. Thanks for helping me and supporting the movement. Quinn Wade Basketball Analysis. I'm going.
What is good, YouTube? Quinn Wade Basketball Analysis. Coming to y'all with that analysis, we're going to talk about Demarcus Cousins, a guy that a lot of people have gave up on. A lot of guys and teams don't want him on their team, and they feel like he can be a cancer in the locker room. They feel like he's washed up. They feel like he's done. They feel like at the end of the day, can he score enough points to make up for the deficiencies that he has in his defensive game? Never really been known as a great defensive player throughout his whole entire career, but with the injuries that he has sustained over the last 3 years, it also slowed him down, made him less mobile, and by him losing a little weight, he's not as strong. And now we have to figure out, what is Demarcus Cousins at this point in his career? Can he still produce? Can he be productive? What can he do to really make it worth paying him and giving him a roster spot, an opportunity, and a chance? Because a lot of teams are honestly done with him. Even a couple years ago, the Lakers and the Warriors was a team that, they said we'd take that gamble, and it didn't work for the Lakers as he didn't even play a game with them, and it didn't work really for Golden State just because, yeah, they had a good record. Yeah, they made it to the finals, but they ended up losing the NBA Finals, and he didn't really contribute that much during that playoff run anyway to really, change the way people felt about him. He went out there and competed. He went out there and did what he had to do. But not only that, he's been off for a long time because of the recent injury. And with, him being away from the Lakers, he has even more time to get more healthier and more time to put more work in. So that way he can be the best version of himself and also be in the best shape that he can be in, as he's going to have a long layoff because the next season, I believe, won't start until December, giving him ample amount of time to really work on his body, work on his skills, and try to come back a solid to decent player, maybe even a starter, depending on how his shot is going, because he didn't shoot the ball well in Golden State, and that's going to be something that he's going to have to do to make up for his ability to not be as explosive and have that burst. He might have to take more jump shots and take more threes to basically be a threat offensively, because I don't believe he can just put the ball on the deck like he used to do and get to the rim and just knock people around. That's just not his game probably at this point because of those injuries. He probably can do it from time to time, but I don't think he's going to be as effective. DeMarcus never been a high field goal percentage player just because he never been an elite shooter or an elite finisher. He was just great at those two things. But when you look at, honestly, when you look at the Washington Wizards and where they are at right now as a team that still trying to build around Bradley Beal and John Wall, one of their biggest problems to me is that they never had a great center. I think centers are not as essential as we know as they used to be, but that's a need that I can actually see them wanting to fill, especially with a guy like DeMarcus Cousins that can stretch out the floor and put a lot of pressure on the defense with his physical play. And he's a great passer, may turn the ball over a lot, but he's not a selfish player. He is a team player at this point, especially after New Orleans days. And he showed that he can really make an impact offensively. And I think that he can still give them the screens and the stop and pop threes and the stop and pop jump shots. I think he can still get some good catches. John Wall is an unselfish point guard. He's a pass first, almost point guard, and he can find guys like DeMarcus Cousins in spots. He made Marcin Gortat look a lot better just because he was always finding him in his spots, giving him the ability to hit layups and floaters and get easy high percentage shots, which extended Marcin Gortat's name and career just because John Wall made it so easy for him to be productive. And I don't see why he can't do the same thing for DeMarcus Cousins. And I just want to see how he is in general. I really want to see what Demarcus Cousins can do, what he can't do, what he brings to the table, and then we'll get some type of idea of what he's going to be. But if I'm Washington, this is a gamble that really don't hurt you just because you can always waive him and go get a different player to take his spot as the free agency goes past and as the trade deadline goes past. It will be definitely interesting to see where are they willing to take that gamble to basically see what DeMarcus Cousins is at this point and what he can do to contribute to a team. But I also believe that he fits with Bradley Beal because DeMarcus Cousins is a guy that doesn't be in the way. He's a guy that has soft touch, and he's a guy that can really play well off other players. And I feel like him and Bradley Beal can really be a good fit too. But the question mostly for DeMarcus Cousins is, can he be a starting level player? Can he be a six man? What is his role in the NBA after these major injuries? Is he still quick enough? Is he still um, dominant enough? Which it don't look like it. But I did see some games in Golden State where he looked kind of special and he looked like a good piece. Well, I like this. I like that he can do this. He's not doing it like this, but he was rusty. He was still figuring it out because he missed over half the season with Golden State. So I had to take that, with a grain of salt. And I was still interested in DeMarcus Cousins as a prospect and as a player just because he still brought small things that other players can't do at his position to the table, even though he was beat up and slow and wasn't the greatest defender. But you can also have certain teams that can find ways to fit you in without them hurting you, depending on what personnel they put out there with DeMarcus Cousins. If you have the right personnel, he can fit into you defensively, and if you have the right personnel, he can be a great complementary player because of his skill set and what he does bring to the table as a center. And you're not going to really find too many centers that can do what he can do, even at this point. But not only that, when I look at DeMarcus Cousins in general, this Wizards team was one of the worst defensive teams in the NBA. I think that that's one of the biggest concerns because DeMarcus Cousins isn't a rim protector. He isn't, like we know, the most explosive guy and never really has been. But defensively, he has been terrible, even in Golden State, even in New Orleans. And that's going to be the biggest questions for him is can they find a way to defend? They can score the basketball. They're getting John Wall back. That's going to help. But can they guard or defend anybody? Because you're not going to really do anything special if you can't, get stops and if you can't lock down defensively, or you have guys on your team that makes it easier for other teams to score just because they can put that person in predicament where they have to defend. And DeMarcus Cousins is one of those guys where you can pick on him because he can't guard forwards like small forwards and shooting guards, and he also is not fast and quick enough on his feet to guard point guards. Which means a lot of teams are going to switch and let Cousins guard them and then just pick them apart and just beat them off the dribble and get fouls and open up because you're putting pressure on the defense to passes and kickouts. And that's one of the biggest concerns. People say, Carmelo Anthony isn't a great defender no more. He's more of a liability. You have to find the right team and the right lineup for him to be successful. That's going to be the case for DeMarcus Cousins too. Well, who can you put out there? Can the Wizards even put somebody out there just because they have been one of the worst defensive teams in history when you look at the numbers? And DeMarcus Cousins is not going to add to that. He might even make it worse, which is a big problem just because you're trying to find a way to get better and find a way to be more competitive if you're the Wizards. And DeMarcus Cousins makes sense when it comes to talent and what he possibly can do, but also you have to give him perspective that this is who he is and this is who you is, and can he really help you get over that hump after coming off this injury and being rusty and never playing with you guys, but also not being a factor defensively, and that's a problem because that's something that they haven't been able to figure out for themselves, and DeMarcus Cousins isn't going to add or help that add to or help that situation either. So that's all I really got to say. Should the Washington Wizards take a gamble on DeMarcus Cousins? Yeah, because he's only going to take a couple million, if not a million. He's not going to be in your face. He's not going to be chaotic because he's trying to find a way to stay and survive in the league. Not only that, the guy just wants another opportunity to show that he can still play at this level. And the Wizards is in a situation where they need a center, they need some help, and Demarcus Cousins is going to be cheap. He can possibly be productive, and he can possibly do things that other centers can't bring to the table, like shooting, potentially handling the ball, setting good screens, and being a good playmaker at that position. So I understand why John Wall, that's his brother. You see him coming off an injury. You see they got a chip on the shoulder. He want to prove himself, and they in the same boat. Plus, they got Bradley Beal playing the best basketball of his career, and you add those two pieces to that team. Now you got a team that's even more tougher to guard, and one of the teams that was one of the best offensive teams this season, even though they didn't have the talent, get two former All Star players that are veterans. They know the game, they know their game, and they know who they are. That's going to be interesting to see what they can do together if they do get Demarcus Cousins on this roster. I'm interested. I want to see it. And honestly, I wanted Demarcus Cousins to go to the Wizards years ago, and it might actually happen, and hopefully it does, because I do want to see Demarcus and John Wall play again, even though they might not win a championship, even though they might not be the best team in the league. I always wanted to see them play again because they played well off each other, and they also found ways to have fun and give the fans something exciting. And that's why I was always interested in seeing them, and now it might happen. And hopefully it does, because I think that'll make everybody happy. And he still is a good, decent player to me. And I think he does deserve another opportunity in the league, as he didn't even play this year for the Lakers to destroy his reputation. But other than that, check out my website, analysisplayground.com. Link in the description comment section below. Like on Facebook, that will also be in the description comment section below. Thanks for everybody that liked on Facebook. Thanks for everybody that likes the video. Thanks for everybody that shares. That does help. I made breakdowns of players, rookies, and legends. I also cover Summer League, NBA Draft. I also cover season previews, trade deadline, free agency, playoff predictions. So if you love basketball and you can't live without it, I make videos every single day and discussions also. So to me, if you like this video and you check out my older videos, I don't see why you wouldn't want to subscribe and become part of the family. But other than that, I'm Quinn Wade. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Enjoy the rest of your day. And let's see what DeMarcus Cousins can do. Let's see what him and Wall still got up their sleeve. And everybody going against him and doubting him and calling him overrated and overpaid. Now they get a particular next season to come back healthy, and they can probably do some things in the East. We won't know until it happens. We won't know until he gets signed. But this is interesting. I wanted to put my 2 cents on it just because it's just something that I believe we all wanted. May not be the way we wanted it because they both coming off injuries, major injuries, but we'll take it nonetheless. I think that's something that we can't get our cake and eat it too, and that's fine. But other than that, I'm going to enjoy the rest of our day.